Welcome to the Nice Minds podcast, everybody. I go by the name of emcee, also Brandon McCollum. I am with LP. She is host of the Eargasm, which I don't dive into what the Eargasm is exactly.
Absolutely. So the Eargasm with LP is basically a music platform, or I like to consider a music community, where artists come and submit their music for me to review and critique. But it's not just that alone. We actually have been doing this now, I think, for 3 years, and have built a pretty big music community from people all over the world who have collabed together, have done a lot of stuff, and went on to do a lot of good music after they actually met on my show. So it's been a really awesome community to be a part of.
That's amazing. So did you start as an MC then? Because I know that you're a really slept on, underrated MC. I've heard your stuff, and you're you deserve way more credit than I feel like you get. So did you start as an MC?
I did, and I really appreciate you saying that. I don't really promote my music probably as much as I should, but I think that's kind of where like the eargasm kind of came in. Is I started doing music probably about 10 years ago, but more seriously within like the last like 5 years. And when I say seriously, I mean uploading it to, streaming platforms and stuff like that. I didn't know all that information when I first started doing music, and so it was a learning process for me. But I also felt at that time that other people like myself didn't know any of that stuff. So I started to research and do all that stuff so I could also pass that information along, through the community and through the eargasm. So not only was it being able to discover like really new dope indie artists, it was being able to educate them on the proper way to make money off of their music, because a lot of artists still really don't know how to do that.
That's amazing. I mean, that's very similar why I got into this and what I do as well. So with the eargasm, I noticed that you do a lot of reviews, and I haven't seen a lot of your interviews, but I noticed you do some of that as well. Um, so really, like, I guess in depth, what has the eargasm been in the last like year or two?
So in the last year is actually when my interviews started picking up. And so I was reluctant to do interviews at first. Part of the reason was because like I obviously everybody is not in the same shooting specifications as I am, and I want them to be able to present themselves the way that I see their music. So I was a little hesitant about it at first. However, I was like, you know what, let's just talk to people. The other part of it was is I really wanted to build a relationship with artists in general and know that they actually like really supported the community. And so I kind of sit back and watch their interaction with the channel, which really helped me decide who I wanted to bring on my platform, because I have people who show up once and then I never see them again. And then I have people who have been religiously coming to my shows for the last 3 years, and I've really, really felt that they deserve to be in that spotlight. And so it's been interviews, and it's been, a continuation of progressive shows. So sometimes I'll have people submit music from when they first started doing music, and then another track of them and how they sound now, so we can see their growth, which I think is an awesome show to have, because everybody started and kind of sounded like crap. You know what I mean? I did not sound good when I first started doing music, 10 years ago. It was horrible. It was very monotone and robotic. And so it's nice to kind of share that commonality with them and say, hey, like I was garbage at 1.2, but look at how far we came.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like everybody's got to start somewhere. My mic keeps falling. That's kind of like a trial and error. I mean, with this podcast, it's just been very, very trial and error, kind of figuring it out as I go, figuring out how I want to present it. I think the last couple podcasts that I've recorded have been the only ones that haven't had technical difficulties with glitches and stuff like that. So I feel like everything with creativity is all a learning process and just figuring out, where you fit in and how it's going to gel and stuff like that.
I agree.
So in particular, how has 2020 treated you in the eargasm and stuff like that?
2020's been weird. I think it's been
Yeah,
weird for everybody, but
for real.
I think the biggest thing is like, and I did a show on this a couple weeks ago about mental health,
I caught a
and
little bit. Yep.
yeah, and it was one of those things where like you don't really think about mental health and how important it is until you really find yourself almost a little lost in it and like, yo, like what's going on with me right now? Like,
Yep.
am I suffering from a little bit of depression or like winter depression? Like what is going on? And so I was not only like full-time school, full-time work, full-time kid in school, and full-time boyfriend in school. Our house has just been insane. So we not only that, but 2020 kind of forced everybody to always be around one another. And as much as I love my family and they love me, you need a break every once in a while. And I don't think people realize how precious going to work for 8 hours is sometimes,
Hmm.
and how that creates a balance in your life. And so when we weren't allowed to do that anymore, it really kind of took its toll. And so the eargasm there for a while was a nice getaway from that. But
Yeah, for
then
sure.
I also started to feel the pressure of people relying on me to be there all the time, which then kind of,
Yep.
let things kind of spiral out a little bit. So I said, you know what, I need to take a step back and I need to get myself together because it was hard. It was really hard and it still is.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean, for me, I can really relate to that because, up until recently, Nice Guy Entertainment was, a record label slash crew type situation,
With some dope
and
artists. I
I
just want to
had
say that.
thank you, I appreciate that, I agree, and that's the way I had kinda operated it for the last, 5 plus years, and it was a lot of ups and downs through that, but in 2020, I wasn't able to book shows.
Right.
I was recording at a IPR for, like, the last 6 years, and that was, like, my home base for Nice Entertainment, basically,
Mhm.
uh, and the woman that would allow me to record there after post graduation, she got laid off, and then my time just I just lost my time there.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of left with not as much resources, and I found myself we were trying to put stuff together like a cipher and different things like that, and things just were not gelling, and there was miscommunication. And during the pandemic, I'm not going into people's houses and recording them and stuff like that. And I just found myself at like 1:30 in the morning one night, just having an anxiety attack in bed, reading my phone with this group chat just going off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I feeling so much anxiety from something that used to give me joy?
Right.
And so I had to really think about it, and I mean, it was a long time coming, kind of just because of my own mental health and hurdles that I had faced over the last couple years.
Yeah.
But I decided, I was like, I called everybody individually, and I said, this is I have to make Nice Entertainment my personal brand instead of a crew.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that I feel like it should be ran at this point. Hopefully in the future, because I have nothing but love and respect for everybody that I had involved. But I hope in the future I can pick things back up where they left off. But for now, that's where I'm at with that. Um, I mean, the future is kind of there's a big question mark on the future, for so many people. And that's why I feel like I wanted to do this podcast, was to talk to different people and different voices and different opinions, and talk about, kind of working together. And where do you see the industry going? I mean, I know that there's this huge question mark, but what do you think 2021 and beyond is going to look like for people like us?
Oh man. I mean, I think you stepping into the podcast world and this digital age, and I say digital age because like I I don't really like I'm not a huge social media fan. I do it because it's something to do when I'm, like
Right.
flicking through stuff. But at this point, if I want my brand to be successful and continue to be successful, I'm going to have to figure out if for some reason we can't go see people in person for a while, or if I can't, interview somebody face to face,
Yeah.
or I can't do any of that stuff, how am I going to do that? How am I going to accomplish still being able to reach out to people? And so, I personally think what you're doing and what I'm doing is a perfect way to do it, whether you're doing it just with your vocals, or if you're doing it with a video, whichever it is. I think it's a good way because a lot more people are listening to podcasts nowadays. And I'm
Yep.
honestly behind the curve. I don't have the Eargasm on a podcast program. I don't have it up there right now. I should. I definitely should. But it's one more thing to add. You know what I mean? And it's hard when it's just you, taking care of that stuff. But as far as where it's gonna be all of 2021, honestly, I don't know.
Right.
I think it really, like, teeters on what's gonna happen with this vaccine and all this other stuff that's coming up. And
Yep.
you just have to kind of hope for the best, and make sure you're taking all your precautions and do it and you're supposed to. Because I was traveling in the midst of all this and just being really careful. I went to Virginia, I went to Washington and shot my video. I did all that stuff. But you kind of like push the line a little bit and you're like, okay, I need to reel it back in. I need to I
For
need to
sure.
remember that we're in a pandemic right now. So,
Yep.
but I just feel like humans are meant to interact in person, and it's causing a really big hiccup in like our normal DNA to be doing this right now. Especially
Yeah.
me. Like, that's probably one of the main reasons this has been really hard on me, because I'm so used to traveling freely and I can't right now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, same thing with me. I was so used to going to the studio and, going to shows and doing all that stuff. And yeah, it's just put a huge disruption. But at the same time, and as much as this year has sucked, I have noticed a lot of positives. I feel like with starting this podcast in particular, wouldn't have been able to get, a lot of the, I guess, mentorship and so like a lot of the guests that I've gotten are because everybody would have been so busy.
That's true too.
And
Everybody got
you
time
know,
now.
exactly. Everybody's got nothing but time at this point. So I do feel like it kind of gave everybody the opportunity to kind of take a deep breath and look around and
Yes.
and see what people are doing, and they're like, oh, this person's super interesting, or and maybe notice people or notice things that you wouldn't have noticed
Yeah,
prior.
it's kind of made people
You
slow
know,
down and take the time to do that, which that's not always a bad thing either. I don't feel like we're supposed to work 8 hours a day,
right?
40 hours a week for the rest of our lives. I don't feel like that's normal. That's insanity if you ask me. But you need to be able to branch out and do other things that maybe you're not comfortable doing, or maybe some things that may cause you a little bit of anxiety or uncomfortability, whatever
Yeah,
it is, to push the envelope a little bit. Because I feel like right now creatives are being the most creative at this point in time that we've ever probably had to have been. So you have the live streams of people performing music. They have to figure out all that audio and how to conduct that stuff. That's something that even I haven't figured out yet, because I've thought about it too. But
yeah,
all of that stuff takes, a mindset and a drive to want to do all that. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing for people right now too, in a way, but at the same time, you got to find that balance, when the balance before was being able to leave your house normally.
yeah, exactly. It's so crazy. I mean, there's just so many variables at this point and question marks
Mhm.
at this point, like what could happen. And I hope that this just kind of shines a light on things that should be paid attention to. Hopefully this will, after we are able to get back together, I hope people as a community just really come together and people start going to local shows and supporting
Definitely.
each other way more. And I think that is inevitably what is going to happen. I think it's just going to create this mega sense of community that we didn't have before.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think, especially here in Minnesota. Look, I've never
Yeah.
lived in Minnesota ever. This is the first time I've ever lived here. I've lived here for 4 years. I met Yari at my first performance. I'm pretty sure you know who Yari is, right?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. Yeah.
And he's like
Oh, yeah,
a
yeah, Yari, yeah, I
yeah,
do know Yari, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so I met him at my first performance at Fifth Element, and he like blew me away, and he automatically came over to me and was like, we need to do a song. And so he was the
He's
first person.
dope.
He is
Yeah.
very dope. And he's the first person that I ever did a track with here in Minnesota, and we've done a couple other tracks as well. And so what I can say about Minnesota and the music scene in general is there's just a lot of talented people here,
Yep.
and two, it's just an epicenter for music in general. Like, so many like artists come here to perform. Redman, Method Man. I mean,
Yep.
everyone. You got the Rhyme Sayers. Everybody. Ciroc comes here sometimes and performs. I wish she would come here sooner, but she's been performing out in like California and a couple other places recently. But
Yeah.
you have all of these just greats that like to come here, and just it's really dope to be in, because where I was living at before, I had to drive to Milwaukee, is actually where people first discovered Lyrically Poetic, or LP. I had to drive like 4 hours away just to hit an open mic, so it was a lot of work.
Damn. So where are you from originally? I know we talked about this, but I can't remember.
I'm originally from VA.
Okay,
Yep,
that's
I
what I
grew
thought.
up in Yorktown, Virginia, but then lived in Illinois for the most of my life. Briefly, I was in the military, and then came back and actually moved to Minnesota for work. So,
Oh, okay, that's what's up. What were you doing at the time?
when I was living in Illinois, or what do you mean?
To come to Minnesota, like, for work.
Oh, yeah. So I was a project manager for a hospitality company that
Oh, okay.
ran like valet out of hospitals and stuff. And so they had actually worked at Hennepin County Medical Center downtown, which was a crazy hospital to work at. That place is
Oh, I
dangerous.
bet.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Like, I
bet.
can't tell you how
I
many
can
times I got
imagine.
threatened because I didn't want to get someone's car. They're like, I'm going to come back and shoot you. I was like,
Yeah, I
wow,
bet.
have a good day.
Damn,
But
that's crazy.
it is like, it was wild, but I don't work for that company anymore. We're
Word,
good now.
word. Yeah, I'm
Um
glad for you. Yeah.
for
Damn.
sure. But that gave me the opportunity to kind of explore Minnesota a little bit more, and find a job that I really wanted to kind of stay in, which now obviously is going to be IT. So,
Nice. That's what's up. Yeah, yeah, so, I mean, were you aware of the music scene here before you came
no.
here?
I
You
had
were
no
completely
idea.
unaware?
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I knew about the Rhyme Sayers already. I actually did a when I was in Milwaukee, Psalm 1, she did a performance out there, and we were on the same show. She's really dope too. But
Yeah, she is super dope. I
yeah,
opened f I opened for her back in the day. I didn't get to talk to her, like, 5 years ago. I opened
nice. You know
for
what?
her,
That's weird,
but
because I feel like that was around the
yeah.
same time it was for me. Well, no,
Really? Was it?
it was in Milwaukee. I can't remember
Oh,
where in
okay.
Milwaukee though. But yeah, it was a quite a little bit ago. But yeah, she's dope. So I did know about her, and I knew about the Rhyme Sayers and everything, but I didn't realize how many
Mhm.
people like came to Minnesota to actually like perform. And I'm talking about like
It's
the
crazy.
like Wu-Tang, and then they had the X Games. Like, I didn't know all this stuff went down here until I moved here and like worked right next to the stadium, and I'm like, "Whoa, what is all this?" So,
Yeah. I mean, it's always been this crazy community. I've been a part of it for like 16 years now. I mean, and to your point, I mean, even people even come here to kind of cut their teeth and like get experience. Like Lizzo, she
yeah,
came here strictly, I think, for music. I don't think she moved here for any other reason.
it wouldn't surprise me.
And she she lived here for like 4 or 5 years, I want to say, and just kind of grinded in the local scene. And then she met, I think Laserbeak, who's POS's producer. And then like that kind of helped get her name out there, and then she just blew up and
Blew
took
up.
off, and now she's superstar.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Minnesota has just got that talent. And I feel like only the, I don't wanna say luck, but it's very hard to blow up out of here, I feel
And I
like.
feel like there's so many people here that can blow up. That's the
I
crazy
know.
thing. Like,
I
oh
know.
my gosh, there's so many, like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. So there's this group here, and maybe you can help me out with this. And I feel really bad because he worked for me when I was the project manager. One of the guys from the group, oh my gosh, he's in a he's in a group with like three other guys, and they're a really dope hip hop group, and I can't remember their name. Um, there's something with it's got roots in it, I think.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember. I had one of the guys worked for me, and I didn't realize
Is
that he
it
was.
Deep Rooted Tribe? Is that
Yes,
what it
yes,
is?
yes. Deep Rooted
Is that
Tribe. Yeah,
okay,
they
yeah.
are so dope. I
They're
love
super
them.
dope.
and I was able to go and see one of their shows. And then you have Akita. I don't know if you know who she is.
No, not familiar.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how she hasn't blown up. She's kind of like, I don't even know how to explain her, but she is just raw. She is super raw. There's a lot of people here in Minnesota that I was just like finally experiencing, and as I started doing my interviews, I really wanted to go interview them in person because I feel like even though I'm not from Minnesota, I need to break into that so I can start putting these people on, in rotation of promotion. But I like to
Yep.
sit down with them. Just Will is another one, awesome singer.
Oh, yeah, just was. Yep.
And so, I just haven't had that opportunity. And before that, I was too busy with work to actually do it. And now I have the time and I can't do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Sucks.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same kinda similar with me. I was going through, like, the worst time of my life with because my mom had cancer from
I remember. Yeah.
2018 to 2019, and so I was helping her for, like, a year straight, and then I went back to school. Long story, whatever. The people will probably hear this a million times. And then last year I got sick for like 4 months,
I
and
remember
so
seeing that.
literally from the beginning of 2018 to the end of 2019, I couldn't do too much.
Yeah.
And then finally, I was ready to go. I'm like, I feel great, earlier this year, and ready to do this, and that. And then all of a sudden in March,
COVID.
COVID, just insane,
Yeah.
just insane. Yeah, so that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, and no wonder that you're slept on. I mean, because I didn't really think about how you haven't really had the chance to really be out there and stuff. I mean, from the music that I've heard from you, you are so dope. I mean, like people need to know about your dopeness. So I mean, that was one of the many reasons I wanted to have you on here.
Well, I
And
appreciate that. I
hell
don't
yeah.
I don't promote myself like I should, but I feel like if people want to find my music, they will. I don't like to do that. Holly tagged you and 99 others.
Oh, I hate that.
I don't like
Hate
to do
that.
that. So it's one of those
Hate
things
that.
like I'll post it on my page and I hope you'll listen, and if not, I'll hit you in your inbox and say, "Hey, would you mind taking a listen to this? This is my new
Yep.
album or my new track."
Yeah, I hate that tagging stuff. I mean, people, if anybody's listening that does that, stop that shit
Don't
because
do that shit.
that shit is ridiculous. And most of the time, it's people I've never talked to
Nope, they've never sent me a
and
message, nothing.
never sent, never like interacted with any of my posts,
No.
nothing.
Mm-mm. And I'm just
And
like, "Why are we still friends?"
well, yeah, and it's that. And then I noticed that they tag people who are in the scene as well that I'm good friends with and stuff. So like obviously they must know that like I roll with these certain people and
Mm.
stuff.
You know
So
what it
it,
is they added you and then they went through your friends list and added all of them. You know how many times people do that shit?
yeah,
I can't, and I'm like, "Yo, if you want me to introduce you, let me do that because it's a lot more than, them saying like, "Oh, hey, Holly referred me to you," as opposed to, "Yo, what up?" Like you want to, or just drop a
right.
link in the inbox. Like, don't do that shit. Don't
Yeah,
do
don't do
that.
that shit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could go all the do's and don'ts. I should have a whole podcast on the do's
Yeah,
and
we
don'ts
should. Well, I
about
got
like
plenty to talk about.
let let's do that because I feel like people really need
This
social
is
media etiquette and
101.
101 promotion etiquette. So I mean, but that's the thing. It's hard. I mean, and I understand the I guess desperate feeling, like the desperation, because you believe in yourself, you believe in what you do and stuff,
Yeah,
but and I have the same thing that you though. I have a hard time talking about myself and what I do um and promoting and then even running a record label as successful or unsuccessful as that was. I never knew how to be like, yo, my people are so dope, like listen to these people.
right.
And so that's another reason why I wanted to have this podcast. I mean, it just goes back to just giving people that platform, letting people know that hey, there's some dope people out here that you need to check out and are worth listening to, and
Absolutely.
good people at that.
Yeah. Every little bit of free promotion helps. I don't think a lot of people realize what word of mouth really can do sometimes. Just like the
Exactly.
stuff with that lemonade. Shout out to the lemonade dude. Um
V,
yeah,
I've
yeah.
known him for a minute. We go back like 11, 12 years. That he's one of the best people I've ever met. I mean, he's just the kindest, sweetest dude you'll ever meet. And the fact that he started this lemonade company and it's so damn good,
Yeah.
like I can't help but like always rep
But
it and
yeah. That's what I mean,
support it,
and
you
I
know?
if you're somebody obviously that I respect and I've, always same because 'cause you've got your label and just, as general as a person, but it's one of those things, like, I don't normally like, I'm not gonna take everybody's word the same way, if that makes
Right.
sense. You know what I
Same.
mean? There's certain
Yep.
people that I interact with or we have interactions and we're on the same page and that I'll do business with and that I'll also refer. If I don't refer you, that means I really don't F with you. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like, if I can't give that blessing to somebody else and say, "Hey, go hit up Brandon," then I obviously we're just, affiliates on Facebook, we're not
For real. Yeah.
friends. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I
Um,
appreciate that because,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I think we started talking like 2 years ago or something, and
Yep,
we talked pretty in depth and whatnot, and we just kind of hit it off right away. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
Speaking of V though, did you end up ordering that lemonade?
So I wanted to order it, but I wanted to go pick it up. And it said something about like, I wasn't sure if he delivered to Maple Grove. So I haven't ordered it yet because I actually want to like meet him. But
You stay in
again,
Maple Grove?
yeah.
I do too.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I had no idea.
I
Crazy.
thought you were in Minneapolis. I thought you were in the
No,
city.
yeah, I'm in Maple Grove.
That's funny as hell. Yeah. So we're
That
way
is
closer
crazy.
than we even knew.
Yeah, no, he does deliver to Maple Grove
Oh, he
because,
does. Okay, so then I'm
yeah,
gonna for sure order because it said
yeah, you
Minneapolis, so
should.
I wasn't sure like how far they did like the daily deliveries on Sunday. So now
That's
I'm
what's
for
up.
sure. V, I got you.
Hell yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, we're talking about doing some sort of sponsorship with this. So any sort of referral I send him, we're gonna work out some sort of deal.
Definitely do
So
that. Like, I've been trying to figure out what companies and that was something I really when I first started the Eargasm was like, what businesses should I reach out to that would because sometimes I think in my head sometimes it's like what sponsorships would mesh with the platform that I'm using.
yep.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have but who everybody drinks shit on camera, so that's great.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
that's a perfect placement. But for me, it's kind of like, I wonder, so it could be clothing, like all the stuff you see behind me. This is all stuff that people either have made me or I paid for. They're artists that are on my show who also paint, or they're like that orange thing back there is a graffiti artist that I used to go do shows with. He would do live graffiti while I was performing.
Oh, that's
And,
dope.
like I just love to support everybody. It doesn't matter if you're an artist rapper or an artist drawer, like everything. So
Hell yeah. That's what's up. We need more people like you. I'm just saying. Just saying we need more people like LP.
I appreciate that.
Um, hell yeah. And I wish you nothing but success. I mean, you're killing it. And I know that stuff is hard out here, but I hope that you continue doing what you do
Yeah,
and just, you know, just keep grinding.
absolutely. I just got to remember to take a break when it's needed because I
Yeah.
really tried not to do that before and I
Oh,
realized
for
that that's
sure.
not the way to do it. So,
Same. Yeah, same, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we covered all the bases that I feel like we should cover, and yeah, I really appreciate you doing this with me and for offering support and all the feedback that you've given me and encouragement, and yeah, you're dope.
thank you. Absolutely. It was good to have me on here. Like it was
Yeah, this
well overdue, I think it was.
hell yeah, I
So,
appreciate it. Well, hell
absolutely.
is yeah.